Only 7%. That's how many Americans are considered metabolically healthy. Let that sink in. That means out of every 100 people you see walking down the street, in your office, in your church, or at your family reunion, 93 of them are metabolically unhealthy. And the craziest part, most of them have no idea. Share in the comments if you're in the 7% group or you're working to get out of the 93% group. A 2018 study told us that 88% of American adults were not metabolically healthy, and just when we thought it couldn't get worse. A newer study in 2022 says it's now 93%. That's nearly the entire population. And you might be wondering, how did we get here? Why is this happening in one of the wealthiest, most medically advanced countries in the world? And more importantly, are you one of them? And if you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Dr. Tony Hampton, and they call me the Metabolic Health Doctor for a reason. Because I believe that fixing your metabolic health isn't just a personal win. It's the gateway to reversing nearly 70 to 80% of all chronic diseases we see today. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, even some types of cancer and Alzheimer's. These don't just randomly happen. They grow silently in the background when your metabolism is out of balance. So today we're going to uncover why most people are metabolically sick, what the 7% who are thriving are doing differently, and how you can join them without needing a single prescription drug. Let's start by answering a basic but often misunderstood question. What is metabolic health? Metabolic health means having optimal levels of blood sugar, triglycerides, HDL, cholesterol, blood pressure, and waist circumference without needing a medication to achieve these numbers. It's not just about weight. In fact, some people who look thin on the outside can still be metabolically obese on the inside. In the studies I mentioned earlier, researchers found that only a tiny fraction of Americans met all 5 criteria without needing meds. That's how we got the 88% stat back in 2018. And now, after the pandemic, stress, screen time, DoorDash dinners, and 24/7 snack culture, only 7% are truly metabolically healthy. Let's break down how we got here. First, we've normalized ultra-processed food. Over 60% of the calories Americans eat today come from ultra-processed junk. We're not just talking about fast food. We're talking about so-called healthy cereal, bars, flavored yogurts, fruit juices, low-fat snacks, seed oil-laden dressings, and frozen meals disguised as nutritious. These foods hijack your hunger signals, spike your blood sugar, and leave you in a constant cycle of insulin resistance. Second, we've lost touch with real hunger. Leptin, the hunger hormone that tells your brain you're full, has stopped working in many people. But why? Because constant snacking, high fructose, high carb foods break the system. And when leptin's ignored, we keep eating and eating and eating. Third, we move way too little. It's not just about hitting the gym, it's about the other 23 hours of day. Your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Walking to the store, standing at your desk, playing with your kids. We've engineered movement out of our lives, and our mitochondria are paying the price. Fourth, our systems are broken. The food pyramid, the dietary guidelines, they weren't written by scientists. They were shaped by politics, lobbyists, and big food interests. They told us to avoid fat and eat 6 to 11 servings of grains a day. That advice has made us fat, tired, and sick. And fifth, chronic stress is silently draining our health. High cortisol from poor sleep, financial pressure, relationship stress, or even just too much screen time can raise blood sugar, disrupt sleep, and block fat burning. Many of us are stuck in fight or flight mode without even realizing it. So that's the 93%. But now let's talk about the 7%, the rare few who are thriving. What did they do differently? They eat real food, not food-like substances. They focus on protein and healthy fats. They understand that beef, eggs, butter, and fish are healing, not harmful. They move their bodies, even if it's not in the gym. They walk, they stretch, they lift things. They chase their kids. They park far away on purpose. They move because they can, not because they have to. They sleep like it's sacred because they know fat loss doesn't happen in the gym. It happens in deep sleep. When growth hormone is peaking and cortisol drops, they manage stress, not just with therapy or deep breathing, but with purpose. They live out their nest and rope, nutrition, exercise, stress management, and sleep, tied to healthy relationships, making sure to avoid organisms and pollutants that are harmful, and of course protecting their emotional health. They measure what matters, not obsessively, but intentionally. They know their waist size. They check their fasting insulin. They look at triglyceride to HDL ratios, not just total cholesterol. They've gotten their calcium score test and know that a score close to 0 as possible is optimal. And most importantly, they don't wait for their doctor to give them permission to get well. They take responsibility. They learn. They experiment. They invest in their future self. So why does all of this matter? For you, for your family, and for your community. Because metabolic health is about more than avoiding a diagnosis. It's about energy. It's about showing up for your kids. It's about preventing dementia before the symptoms start. It's about regaining control of your appetite, your mood, your weight, and your life. So what can you do starting today? Cut the sugar and seed oils. That one change can unlock a cascade of benefits. Less inflammation, better insulin sensitivity, more stable energy. Choose real food. Whether you go low carb, keto, or carnivore, just remove the junk and eat what your ancestors would recognize. Prioritize protein and healthy fats. Not for the abs, but for your brain, your hormones, and your mitochondria. Use the bokeh oils, butter, olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil. And prioritize the animal fats like beef tallow, lard, duck fat, and suet. Say goodbye to soybean, canola, and corn oils forever. Walk after meals. It's one of the best things you can do to flatten your glucose curve. Sleep, not optional. Not a luxury. Sleep is your fat-burning, brain-healing, anti-aging magic. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Hydrate wisely. Plenty of water early in the day. Don't overdo it late at night. We're not trying to ruin your REM sleep with bathroom runs. And finally, track progress. You don't need fancy labs to start. Look in the mirror. Measure your waist. Notice how your brain feels after lunch. That's data too. Now, this isn't just about individuals. It's about systems. We need health systems that reward prevention, not procedures. Insurers who measure success based on triglycerides and insulin, not just BMI. Governments that stop subsidizing junk food and start funding real nutrition education. We need schools that teach kids to cook a steak before they learn to scan a barcode. If you're watching this and feeling overwhelmed, don't. The path to metabolic health is simpler than it sounds. You don't need a pill, potion, or a perfect plan. You just need to start. One change, one win, one step toward being part of the 7%. If you're ready to reclaim your metabolic health, let me know in the comments where you're starting from. What's the first change you'll make? I'd love to hear from you. And if you're serious about turning your health around, check out the playlist and video description below. I've got more content waiting for you to support your journey. Let's make metabolic health the new normal. One person, one family, and one system at a time. Because 93% may be the reality today, but you don't have to be part of that statistic. Let's change the future, starting with you.